very warm good afternoon to all of you once again. And so we're talking about this great strategic partnership that is happening between iCreate and TEXMiN. So I would like to know how will this partnership, the strategic partnership between iCreate and TEXMiN, will benefit the mining industry at large?
Uh, Dr. Dheeraj, do you want to go first or do you want me to set the tone?
Okay. No problem. So since it is a fair related to mining, so my role will be a bit crucial here. Yes. So today is a big day for both TEXMiN Foundation and iCreate. I just give a brief about the TEXMiN Foundation. TEXMiN Foundation is basically an innovation hub of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, which is mandated to lead mining innovation in the country on two of the different areas of mining. One is exploration, other is mining. And Indian School of Mines Dhanbad, which is now IIT ISM Dhanbad, was formally opened in 1926. And TEXMiN Foundation is being basically mentored by IIT ISM Dhanbad as a host institute. So you can see the synergy between IIT ISM Dhanbad and TEXMiN Foundation. And now TEXMiN Foundation has taken a leap by having a sort of tie-up with iCreate, so that the core business area of iCreate, which is basically, in my opinion, is electric mobilities. So we can get all sort of expertise from iCreate Hub on electric mobility part, and TEXMiN Foundation, which is doing innovation in mining industries, can take up their all sort of innovations in electric mobilities and can get those innovation we apply to the mining industries, where we have an ecosystem of heavy earth moving machineries, HEMMs, and entire mines. They are dependent on those HEMMs, that is heavy earth moving mining machineries, and they require good amount of fuel consumptions. And when we talk about carbon footprint, reduction of carbon, and then having a sort of green mining and moving towards green energy and green mining, there we want to have a sort of what you say at expertise of iCreate Hub, so that they can give their best of the solutions, where these HMMs which are operating on diesel or operating on fuel can be converted to electric machines, and then they can become fuel efficient also. In that turn, basically we'll talk about sustainable mining and smart mining.
Thank you for that. I would take it up from there. I'm Avinash Punekar, CEO of iCreate. iCreate is India's leading technology business incubator, also an award-winning one, which focuses on tangible products and manufacturability as its core area. We work with multiple domains and multiple centers of excellence. We have one of our centers of excellence as electric vehicle centers of excellence. This EV COE has, over the last 2-3 years, has led into development of multiple startups which have achieved phenomenal success. Indian EV industry, which is dependent on 90-95% component import, these startups have now indigenized in two-wheelers and three-wheelers over 85% of the content. And the expertise developed in electrification of mobility is something which, through this joint venture or this collaboration that we are doing with TEXMiN, between TEXMiN and the EV Center of Excellence at iCreate, would help actually electrification of the mining industry and various other applications which are there. Just to give you some actually background information, when you look at say a mining industry, the pumping equipment consumes about 18% of the energy. And with one of our startups which specializes in a proprietary patented technology and axial flux motors, we're looking at actually saving about 30% of the energy which is going to be is currently being utilized in pumping operations. Now that 30% saving means about 6% saving in the energy usage of a mine. And that's a significant impact which it can have. And this is excluding actually the carbon footprint reduction. So just a direct energy saving is going to be a huge one. So that's something which the expertise of startups from electric vehicle or electric mobility gets translated into an application which is into mining. And TEXMiN with its expertise in like mining domain would be able to like actually help create these like proof of concepts or the pilots very quickly and help our startups deploy these proof of concepts in field and real environment. Another key area for mines is always the safety. And safety is also like monitoring the toxicity levels in mines, controlling like actually the ventilations. These are critical areas. And when you look at like actually mining industry, about 50% of the energy cost, which is especially in underground mines, is about ventilation. And if you could automate ventilation, if you could monitor systems, if you could have way of tracking like mining environment for toxicity levels, for like people, miners, safety. So that can have a significant impact both on human safety and also energy savings. So these are some of the areas that we are looking at in terms of heavier equipment which is used. So we have identified like crawler drills as one of the area that we want to start with and demonstrate that like crawler drill can be operated with electrical energy and then like converting the entire crawler drill vehicle into an electrified version. So this is something when demonstrated would open up a huge area of opportunity for TEXMiN, ISM Dhanbad, and iCreate startups, where they can actually look at like equipment which is end of life, can be retrofitted, and not only the life would be extended, but you are reducing the carbon footprint, you're reducing, improving the efficiency, and that is where this relationship between TEXMiN, IIT Dhanbad, and iCreate is going to be a win-win situation, not only for these three entities, but like overall the mining ecosystem altogether, the entire mining industry in India and globally. We feel that like the approach being taken by these teams together through this collaboration would help India achieve like global significance in retrofitment and electrification of mining equipment in the near future. Thank you.
That was quite detailed, Mr. Punekar. Another question again comes to you. How can startups help in revolutionizing the mining sector? How do you think what would be their role into this particular segment?
The startups actually work on different problems, different technologies, and develop solutions. Now, these technologies developed by startups can be translated through expertise of TEXMiN into mining applications. Electric motor developed for like a vehicle can also be utilized for driving the pumping equipment. If you look at like actually there are examples in the industry where ceiling fans or various other like actually equipment is now driven by BLDC motors or various configurations of either radial flux or axial flux motors. Now, the proprietary technologies developed by the startups can be translated into applications in various other domains. Mining industry is one of such domains where this requirement is very apparent, very like possible in the near future itself. So when we're looking at most of these startups and their projects and translation of their technologies into working proof of concept, we're looking at timelines and time windows which are very finite. We're looking at like demonstratable results within 6 months or less on number of projects that we're working on together. And that's where the startups can like have a significant impact. Their agility, their ability to like actually come up with quick solutions and then translate these solutions into industry solutions. That would be the impact which would be created by the startups. I hope I was able to answer that question.
Quite a detailed one. So given the mining sector largely contributes to the GDP, it also contributes to employment, infrastructure development, and also it also helps in supply of materials for green technologies. Why do you think this particular sector has been so neglected, so far, and how this particular collaboration between both the companies can help this industry get its deserving due?
Dheeraj ji,
Yes, yes,
please,
I understand
आपके
this
area
question.
में.
This question pertains to certainly me. One thing is not that correct that mining industry at large or this sector at large is neglected. But one thing is again very correct that technology innovation in this sector has not taken place so far. And that is the reason why government of India has chosen this sector also as one of the core sectors now. And they have set up a Section 8 company in the name of TEXMiN in this particular sector. And which has the main job to carry out mining innovation in such a way that we can achieve safe, smart and sustainable mining. And it can be abbreviated as 3S mining. Now, what was happening earlier in this particular sector, we had all imported machines, equipment, and all technologies were imported technologies. And that was one of the biggest reason why this sector has not grown up to that extent, because when you have the imported technology, when you don't have self-sustained ecosystem, when you don't have self-sustained ecosystem, then you will be not getting a sufficient sort of strength in that particular sector. And that's the reason why now government of India is very much after strengthening this particular sector, because this particular sector, mining sector, is considered as a mother of all the sectors, because raw material for all these sectors are basically given from mining or taken from mining only. So what basically we are doing in this particular sector now, we will like to become sort of self-reliant India in this particular sector, and startups will certainly play a very major role. And that's why you have seen that we have tied up hand with iCreate Hub. Similarly, that's for the first time in the country, we have incubated more than 21 startups from different segments, from different areas, from electronic background, from electrical background, from mechanical background, and that too from top-notch institutions like IITs, those who have left their jobs and they have started opening their own company, their own firms, and they have been supported from TEXMiN Foundation. And now they are going ahead with solving the technological issues in mining sectors. And now that with this sort of endeavor, this sector is also will be booming, and then we will be trying to achieve mining 4.0 in line with industry 4.0.
So, as we all know, mining has been subject to, all unsustainable practices. It has never been, sustainable. So, how this particular collaboration will help in putting down the carbon emissions and, maintain the ecological balance?
One thing is very clear. We are trying to go for retrofitting in all those machines and equipment which are right now being operated on sort of fuel and not clean energy. I'll say not clean energy. But this is just a move. If you just talk about underground metal mining, particularly metal mining, lots of heavy earthmoving machineries for loading, for drilling, for excavation. These machines are getting deployed, and there is a problem of emission of diesel particulate matter (DPM), and that creates a sort of environmental disturbances underground mining also. And when we will be successful in retrofitting all those machines with these electric mobility, electric battery operated systems, I think we will be in a position to achieve at least a few percentage achieving towards sustainability. We cannot claim that 100% sustainable we will be having in mining front with this retrofitting and with this electrical mobility, but at least it can contribute to some percentage, maybe 10-15% as such minimum.
Since the partnership aims to, kind of promote and aid green technologies, so what do you think? What are the new technologies and innovations that can transform the mining industry?
I'll tell you. One is very important thing is that a proper monitoring and mapping of entire mining ecosystem as per the compliance is very important. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they have put different rules, regulations and terms of references toward. They have specified these TORs to all these mining companies. Now, as a sort of technology provider or technology innovator, it is our role to have available in the mining sector that these mining companies as such can deploy these technologies and can find out whether they are mining are sustainable mining or not. If you talk about sustainable mining, then we talk in terms of how much disturbances we are making in the ecology
our mining, how after the completion of the mining, we go for the eco-restoration of the environment, eco-restoration of the land. And this mapping and monitoring technology will help these mining companies in achieving the eco-restoration of their land, which they generally do go for the disturbance during the mining process, or they disturb the ecological system during the process of mining. So this technology will certainly help them to basically
To some through this mapping and monitoring and technological advancement which we are doing in these areas.
So my other question would be, what are the global best practices that you all are witnessing in the mining space? Also, what are the solutions you both will be co-creating to integrate e-mobility in mining?
And see, I'll just give you one particular example. In globally, people have started doing R&D on loading systems and those dumpers. You might have seen very high capacity dumpers are deployed in the mines, which haul overburden, that is the waste material, and which also hauls the mineral deposits like maybe coal or other minerals. And these dumpers, they as of now they are basically requiring fuel. And when we will be successful in this particular endeavor of this electrical mobility and retrofitting, then what we can see that these dumpers and these big machines, they will be running on these electrical battery systems. And best practices, global best practices that people have already started in through the R&Ds. They have 240-tonner dumpers as of now, which was basically requiring fuel. Now they are operating with batteries. So people have already carried out some researches and they have got good sort of result also, but in mass this sort of technology has not taken a shape in mining industries. So it is going to take a shape in mining industry very soon.
If I may add, the mining industry global practices have sort of taken a top-down approach with the behemoths like actually Caterpillar and otherwise, who are the manufacturer of like large heavy-duty equipment, are electrifying those vehicles and equipment. The approach that like this collaboration takes is from bottom up kind of thing, where we break down like actually all these equipment which is there. And when we look at like the mining environment, it is also like actually the South Americas, Africa or India. These are the places where investments at that large scale are difficult to make. So to replace like dumpers and heavy hauling vehicles with an electrified version is going to be a very, very expensive proposition. Whereas retrofitment of appropriate equipment can like actually demonstrate quick, tangible results and can like ensure that like our greenification efforts are realized. As Adam mentioned, when we look at like just the pumping equipment and the energy consumed, so 18% of the mining energy consumption is in like pumping equipment. And if we can like have a 30% impact on air, that means we have reduced like 60%, 6% of overall energy consumption, which is in the utilized in the mines. Now that energy consumption saving is in fact greenification. That's something which we directly can quantify and demonstrate. And this also like ensures that like we are not using fossil fuels. We have reduced carbon footprint and we have improved like the productivity or efficiency of the equipment. So this is like actually like all around savings which we can take. Similarly, like any other like activity, whether it's ventilation, safety or other approaches that we take, we are going to be like actually be very sensitive to what are India's requirements and India's approach. The approach of like Western countries did not necessarily be the most suitable approach for Indian mining industry. Retrofitment is a far better and cheaper and cost-effective approach to Indian mining industry, and that's where we are focusing on. Our impact that we want to measure is like after the demonstration of like these proof of concepts, which would be done in next 6 odd months. We want to take this like and spread it across the Indian mining industry and help it achieve at least 10% like electrification, which would result in like actually efficiency and savings for them and would also like reduce their carbon footprint significantly.
So as we all know that this industry is very labor intensive. So given that there was a point mentioned wherein you all said that there's a lot of efforts being put up to make this particular industry very high tech. So what kind of latest technologies will be coming, in the coming times to make this, to make mining and exploration, more high tech? Mr. Punekar, if you wish to answer, you can probably.
Yeah, so making mining like high tech is one area. Second is like actually having mining being labor intensive. So one definite like this thing in future, maybe you will have robotic miners, but that is something which is going to be some time away. But in the meantime, what we need to ensure is like actually ensure that like the labor which is working has a much more like a better environment to operate in. The safety factors from like monitoring air quality, toxicity to personal safety is something which can be like with a technology, new technology can be monitored, can be like controlled and can be utilized. So we are taking the approach from like appropriate technology rather than just being space-age technology. Sometimes like just bringing in like the Armageddon kind of like spaces technology is not really going to work out. What we want to do is have appropriate technology which is suitable for Indian conditions and also is very, very cost effective. The moment you like have that impact of safety, security, and like actually also greenification, then the rest of the technologies at the higher level can also start getting into the environment. So for us, the high-tech implementation in the mining is something which is a logical progression from actually cleaning up our act from ground up.
Mr. Dheeraj, you would like to add something?
I got another call. So can I have your question once again? Actually, I was on another call.
Yes, please. So as I mentioned that the sector is very labor intensive. So what kind of new technologies we will be looking forth in future that will help to make this particular industry more, kind of high tech, which will make mining and exploration more high tech?
Right, a very pertinent question again you have asked for. Certainly, this sector is most labor intensive, and if you see OMS, particularly in underground mines, is very poor, and that's why most of our underground mines in India, particularly coal mines, they are running in loss because this underground mining sector in India, they are very much labor intensive. Whereas the open cast mine in India, they are not that labor intensive. We have lots of technologies, particularly mechanized mining is being practiced in open cast coal mine, metal mines. Whereas open cast, the underground metal mines, if you see like Hindustan Zinc Limited, or if you see Hindustan Copper Mines, or if you see Uranium Corporation of Mines India Limited, most of the mines, they have mechanized technologies available, but those mechanized technologies are not autonomous technologies. They have a sort of mechanized loading, mechanized hauling, and mechanized transportation of ore and mineral. Now, when we talk about TEXMiN Foundation's one of the objective is to make mine smarter. And when you want to make the mine smarter, certainly the labor force what you have in the mines, these labor force are required to be trained on modern technologies, on latest technologies, so that their workplace can be safe and their duty at the workplace can also be very much rewarding. As of now, some sort of research and some technological advancement we have already made in these particular areas, and we are very much sure that future of the mining industry in India will be very much smarter. It won't be that labor intensive. That does not mean that there will be a sort of job scenario depletion in mining sector. The existing workforce are getting trained, and this is what one of the targets we have been given in TEXMiN Foundation to train the present workforce so that they can start using the modern technologies. And this is what TEXMiN has to do in future also, and it has already started doing that.
In fact, to add to like how do we make it like more high tech? So the technology which is coming into or getting into the picture. So we have artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, and then like obviously like IoT sensors and automation and the industry 4.0 getting translated into mining 4.0. So these are interventions which are coming from AI, ML, data science, and IoT sensors, which are going to like actually make these things more high tech. And when you make like equipment high tech, the employees or the labor high tech, and then like overall like the practices of the mining itself overall will become like more high tech.
Right, sir. Since you rightly again pointed out about safety bit of the mining, so we would like to know, be it over the pit or be it underground mining, the safety has always been a concern for the laborers. So how this particular issue will be addressed through this collaboration?
So when we look at like actually mining safety, there are a couple of components to it. One is the environmental factors, which is like monitoring of the mining environment. Whether like actually it's the dust or it is the toxic elements which are present in the air, or it is whether it's like flooding or events which are there, caving ins, or like it is the machine safety for the operators. These are some of the safety features which are there. So when we look at it, like the machine factors could be with training, like as Dr. Dheeraj had mentioned. So training of labor force and usage of the equipment in correct manner, simulator-based trainings or otherwise, would take care of the human machine part of it. The equipment that, or like some of the solutions that we have for monitoring environmental toxicity levels, that is would come in like terms of like the personal safety. And then the third component which comes in is tracking of the workforce or the labor. So in whether in underground or overground, is also like very critical to like have that ability to track miners in as per their location, so that appropriate safety or extraction processes can be put in place. So these are things with like actually the technology solutions which the startups have already developed. So whether we can actually implement and combine those things to create a unified platform, which gives a view of like actually miners' health, miners' safety, and miners' location. So these are things which would help improve that safety factor of the mines.
Sure. So recently India discovered which is called as a white gold or the lithium reserve. So how will this impact the EV ecosystem? We would like to know. And do we also will we also be seeing an increase of EV vehicles in the mining operations in India?
To answer your first part, like yes, definitely the lithium discovery, but it is early stages of the discovery. So extraction, like figuring out the extraction processing of it, and then converting it into like opportunities for the batteries is still some way off. So if you're looking at like actually Indian lithium powered batteries, we're still going to have some time before that becomes a reality. Our adoption of electric technologies in Indian mining or like even Indian like actually society, both of these things are definitely going to improve. Electric vehicles with like FAME and other subsidies are already seeing significant traction, and that is going to increase further. In the mining industry, our proposed like solutions and the collaboration is going to ensure that electrification of the mining industry is going to start, and TEXMiN and iCreate would be the leaders who are going to like actually drive this electrification of the Indian mining industry.
How will you identify solutions that will help in recovering loss of energy, and how this energy can be recaptured for productive use? See, globally, as we all know, they have means to make use of this particular energy. But given India, which is popularly known to make best use out of waste, so how India can recapture this energy loss?
So there are multiple ways that we are looking at it, and one of those things has been like the energy expended in ventilation. So we're trying to experiment with some of our startups which have got proprietary technologies in vertical axis wind turbines and similar other technologies. What we are looking at is recovering some of this energy and quantifying how much energy recovery can be made. Our back of the paper like calculations, so that we will be able to like at least have 10% recovery to start off with. And that's just a guesstimate. So it's not a very accurate number, but we feel that like this energy recovery is going to be one issue that we actively need to address, and that through one of our startups, we are definitely like addressing that.
That was quite descriptive in terms of the energy reuse. Mr. Dheeraj, would you like to also elaborate on that?
No, I think Siddharth, Avinash has very rightly talked about. And other than that, also now in mines, you will see that other than the existing fuels on which the mines are operating, their achievements are operating, they are talking about retrofitting of hydrogen fuel cells. People have started researching on applicability of possibility of use of hydrogen fuel cells. Company like NTPC and others, they have gone big. Company like Reliance, company like even your Adani, they have started carrying out research with having their Tata Steel, with having their centers or possible centers at IIT ISM Dhanbad. They've started working on that. And IIT ISM Dhanbad has also put up a center of hydrogen in each center. With the basic purpose is to understand how this particular technology can be very much useful for giving the fuel requirement or fulfilling the requirement of fuel for these mining sectors. Other than that, there are vast land available with Coal India Limited and other public sector companies. And these open lands are now being used for solar energy purposes also, so that their energy requirement to some extent can be fulfilled by solar energy. So we are seeing that a better ecosystem in near future, so that the energy dependencies on alternative energy will be too much, and mining will be very much sustainable.
In fact, just to add to that, iCreate has a new COE, Center of Excellence in Energy Tech, and we've also got a MOU with CSIR, where like we are actually experimenting with alternate chemistries. So whether it's lithium ion or sodium ion technologies, or graphene-based batteries, solid-state batteries, supercapacitors, and hydrogen. So we are already in the process of like in parallel working on these technologies. So if India starts mining lithium, we would have the technology to make lithium ion batteries. There are startups and they're like actually projects which are already ongoing to work on like hydrogen fuel cells. There are other ones like sodium ion batteries, and multiple of these approaches are being taken to ensure that the appropriate solutions are put in place very quickly.